And she's this year's 14. Would you please welcome from the Philippines, it's Alex.
Billion-dollar rejection. Alex Eala turns down a Saudi fortune in just 20 seconds to chase greatness. Welcome back to my channel. The WTA world is shaking the ground, is moving beneath the sport. This is not just another transfer rumor or sponsorship deal. This is about money so massive it makes football super contracts look tiny. This is about a 20-year-old woman from the Philippines standing in front of unimaginable wealth and choosing legacy over luxury. Alex Eala, the pride of Manila, the girl who learned the game on public courts while rain fell and traffic roared, has just walked away from the largest offer ever made to an athlete. And the reason why is restoring faith in sport across the globe. Imagine the setting: a private room in Dubai, velvet walls, gold leaf ceilings, air conditioning so cold it feels like money itself. Sitting on one side of the table is a Saudi billionaire, a man who buys football clubs like toys and builds artificial islands when he gets bored. On the other side is Alexandra Eala, racket bag still on her shoulder, fresh off a long flight, still very much grounded in reality. Her team believed this was a standard sponsorship discussion. That illusion vanished the moment the doors closed, because this was not a sponsorship meeting. This was an attempted takeover, according to multiple leaks now flooding the tennis underground. This was a full-scale effort to seize the future of women's tennis. The billionaire reportedly did something almost unbelievable. He dropped to his knees, literally to his knees, and begged Alex Eala to become the face, the queen, the center of a brand new breakaway tennis league. Think Live Golf, but louder, richer, and more aggressive. The vision was simple: build an entire tennis empire around one player, a 20-year-old who has not yet won a Grand Slam. That alone tells you how much they believed in her power, her marketability, her future. The numbers were so outrageous they sound fictional. $1 billion up front plus $600 million every year for 10 years, $6 billion total. Generational wealth, nation building money. But the money was only the beginning. The leaked contract details read like a fantasy novel written in gold. She would receive her own private Alexandra Desert Tennis Arena, a massive complex designed only for her training, with indoor courts that perfectly replicate grass, clay, and hard courts, a private jet with gold-plated interiors, not just for travel, but to shuttle her entire family anywhere in the world. On top of that, an annual event called the Arabian Diamond Tennis Championship, where she would be the permanent headline star, competing for a prize pool of $150 million. They even promised to build a fully funded tennis academy in the Philippines under her name to train future generations. It was designed to be impossible to refuse. There was one condition, one single non-negotiable clause: she would have to leave the WTA. No Wimbledon, no Roland Garros, no Australian Open, no US Open, no qualifiers in the rain, no grinding through early rounds, no history, no tradition. Instead, she would become the centerpiece of luxury exhibitions, playing against defectors and retired legends in oil-funded stadiums where tickets cost $1,000 and champagne flows freely. She would be crowned the puppet queen of a desert dynasty. The room went silent. The billionaire waited. He expected a yes. Who says no to $6 billion? Then Alex Eala did. Witnesses say it took exactly 20 seconds. She did not examine the check. She did not glance at the jet design. She looked him directly in the eyes, stood up, and delivered words that are already becoming legendary. She said her legacy was not for sale. She said she does not play for diamonds. She plays for history. She plays for the little girl in Quezon City who picks up a racket and dreams of lifting a Grand Slam trophy, not a bank transfer. She said her dream was built on the grass of Wimbledon, the clay of Paris, and the blue courts of Melbourne, not in boardrooms. She said Filipino athletes have always had to fight hard, travel further, and prove more than anyone else, and that choosing the easy road would betray every single person who believed in her. Then she walked out. She left $6 billion sitting on a polished mahogany table and returned to her hotel to pack for flight to New Zealand. That moment is why the tennis world is emotional today, in an era where loyalty is measured in zeros, where players jump leagues for far less money. She chose the grind, she chose glory, she chose meaning, and what happened next is just as important, because this was not just a symbolic stand. She immediately backed it up with performance. Alex Eala flew straight to Auckland for the ASB Classic and played like someone possessed. She was not playing for money, she was playing with clarity, with purpose, with fire. Every forehand was a declaration, every service game a statement. She looked like an athlete who knew exactly who And why she was there. Her run in New Zealand was breathtaking. She smashed her way into the semi-finals, taking out Poland's Magda Linette in the quarterfinals in straight sets. Linette, a top 40 player with wins over elite names, had no answers. Eala painted lines, mixed pace, controlled rallies like a veteran. Then came Donna Vekic, a Wimbledon semi-finalist and Olympic silver medalist, a player known for composure and experience. Eala absorbed everything Vekic threw at her: power, angles, pressure, and sent it all back sharper. When the final point landed and Eala raised her arms, it felt bigger than a match. It felt like destiny in motion. Although her run was eventually stopped in the semi-finals, the message was clear: she belongs. She is not a prospect, she is a threat. And this was only the beginning. Although Alex Eala fell in the semi-finals, the impact of that Auckland run echoed across the entire tour. China's Wang Xinyu was the one who finally stopped her. Wang herself, a top 50 player who has been knocking on the door of the elite for months. Even in defeat, Eala pushed her to the edge, forcing long rallies, pressure moments, and tactical adjustments. The loss did not feel like a setback. It felt like confirmation that Eala belongs in that tier, that she is no longer chasing the elite, she is standing among them. And when the new WTA rankings were released, the proof became official. Alexandra Eala climbed into the top 50 for the first time in her career, landing at world number 49. This was not a gift, not a wild card, not a favor. This was earned point by point, mile by mile. Every early morning training session, every budget flight, every cheap hotel room, every injury taped up and ignored, every lonely week on the road led to this moment. The top 50 is where the tour truly changes. It means direct entry into Grand Slams. It means respect is assumed, not requested. It means sponsors start calling, not scouting. And Alex Eala has entered that space. As the highest-ranked Filipino tennis player in history, she has gone where no one from her country has ever gone before. The Philippines has produced legendary athletes, boxers, who became national icons, basketball players, worshipped like gods, but tennis has always felt distant, expensive, inaccessible. A sport for the privileged. Alex Eala is tearing down that myth. She is living proof that a girl from a middle-class family training on public courts can stand toe-to-toe with the daughters of oligarchs and dynasties. The Auckland result did more than add ranking points. It delivered validation. It proved that you do not need a golden parachute when you have wings of your own. But the story does not stop in New Zealand, because looming ahead is the Australian Open, and Eala is preparing for it in the most meaningful way possible. She has arrived in Melbourne for the Kooyong Classic, and for those who truly know tennis, Kooyong is not just a warm-up event. This is sacred ground. This is where the Australian Open was held before moving to Melbourne Park. This is history under your feet. It is an invitational. You do not sign up, you are invited because you matter, and Alex Eala received that invitation. Only 4 women were selected for this exclusive event beginning Tuesday, January 14th. And look at the names beside hers. Donna Vekic is there again, and you can expect sparks because Vekic will want revenge. Pride runs deep at this level, and confidence is a powerful force. Eala has already beaten her once. She knows it, she feels it. That rematch will be must-watch tennis. She will also face Australia's own Priscilla Hahn, a gritty fighter who thrives on long rallies and emotional energy. Playing at home at Kooyong with the crowd behind her will give Hahn a surge of momentum. This match will test Eala's mental strength, her ability to block out noise and perform under hostile conditions. And then comes the moment that feels almost cinematic. Daniela Hantuchova, the Slovak legend, the former tour star and Grand Slam champion, returning at 82 years old to test the next generation. This is symbolism at its finest, the past meeting the future, wisdom against hunger, experience against fire. Hantuchova has seen everything. She has played against the Williams sisters in their prime. She knows every angle, every trick. Eala brings youth, belief, and fearless ambition. From January 14th to the 16th, Kooyong will be the final sharpening stone, the place where Eala fine-tunes her weapons before stepping into the Australian Open main draw. The Happy Slam, the first Grand Slam of the year, played under brutal summer heat, where temperatures soar past 40 degrees and the courts feel like burning steel. It is unforgiving, it breaks bodies and minds, and yet it is where Alex Eala has a real chance to go deep. At world number 49, she will be seeded. That matters. It means she avoids the biggest monsters in the opening round. It gives her a realistic path to the 3rd or even 4th round. And once you reach that stage, anything can happen. We have seen teenagers and young stars catch fire and ride momentum into the 2nd week before the world is watching. Now the pressure is real, but if Dubai taught us anything, it is that pressure does not break Alex Eala, it fuels her. She rejected the easy road, the golden road, and chose the dusty uphill path to greatness, and right now sitting inside the top 50 with the Australian Open ahead with an entire nation behind her and millions of young girls watching. She looks unstoppable, but this story is bigger than one player. This is about the soul of tennis itself. The sport stands at a crossroads. On one side are tradition and history, Wimbledon's grass, Roland Garros, clay, US Open, chaos, Australian Open, joy. On the other side are the money men. The disruptors who want to lock players behind paywalls, turn competition into exhibition, and sell access only to the ultra-rich. We have already seen this happen in golf. Saudi money shattered the PGA Tour. Players who swore loyalty left for checks. Legends traded legacy for security. And now those same forces are circling tennis. But tennis is different. Tennis has a soul. It has more than a century of history. The Grand Slams are not just tournaments, they are institutions. You cannot buy Wimbledon's silence between points. You cannot replicate the poetry of Parisian clay. You cannot manufacture the electricity of New York nights. You cannot fake Melbourne's summer madness. Alex Eala understands this. She understands that lifting a Wimbledon trophy means more than any contract ever could, that engraving her name at Roland Garros is immortality, while ruling a desert exhibition is a footnote. And she is not alone, whispers say. Other players have been approached, some have said yes, some are tempted, but Alex Eala's refusal sent shockwaves through locker rooms. She became a symbol, the one who said no, the one who stood firm, and that is inspiring others. The WTA is rallying behind her. Organizers praise her, fans celebrate her. And she is not even 21 yet. Think about that. She has already won junior Grand Slams, dominated the ITF circuit, climbed the rankings faster than expected, represented her country with pride, and now rejected the largest offer in sports history because she believes in something bigger than herself. This is not just a tennis story. This is a generational story. This is the kind of story parents will tell their children about believing in dreams over dollars. So now the question that is tearing the internet apart has to be asked. Would you have taken the money? Would you have said yes to $1 billion, to the gold-plated jet, to lifetime security for your family, your children, and generations beyond? Would you have walked away from the grind, the injuries, the pressure, the uncertainty? Or would you have done what Alex Eala did? Would you have looked at that contract and said, my dream is bigger than this? Because that is the debate this story has ignited across the world. Here is the honest truth. Most people would have taken the money, and there is no shame in admitting that $1 billion is not just life-changing, it is world-changing. It erases every problem you have ever had and every problem you could ever face. It guarantees comfort, safety, and power forever. Choosing that path would not make someone weak, it would make them human. But Alex Eala is not wired like most people. She is different. There is a fire inside her that money cannot put out. There is a hunger that mansions, yachts cannot satisfy. She does not want to be the richest. She does not want to be the most famous. She wants to be the best. And in tennis, there is only one way to earn that title. You must beat the best on the biggest stages, when the lights are brightest and the pressure is crushing. And here is the beautiful irony. By saying no to the money, she may end up making even more in the long run, because if Alex Eala wins a Grand Slam, if she breaks into the top 10, if she becomes a consistent second-week presence at majors, the endorsement deals will be enormous. Nike, Adidas, Rolex, Mercedes, global brands will line up, not just because of her talent, but because of her story, because she proved she cannot be bought in a world where everything feels transactional, where loyalty is rare, integrity is priceless, and that kind of brand transcends sport. But even beyond money, beyond endorsements, beyond rankings, this moment matters for something deeper. It matters for belief. It matters for every young athlete who feels pressured to chase quick rewards instead of long-term greatness. It matters for every kid training on public courts, dreaming of something bigger than their circumstances. Alex Eala just showed that it is still possible to choose the hard road and be rewarded. The Australian Open now stands as the next chapter, and make no mistake, this is not just another tournament for her. This is a stage where narratives are born. At world number 49, she will walk onto those courts with respect, not fear. She will not be anonymous. She will not be overlooked. Commentators will talk about her, fans will watch closely, opponents will prepare differently, and yet she carries something many players at her ranking do. Not absolute clarity. She knows why she is there she knows. What she turned down, she knows what she is chasing when she steps onto that blue court in Melbourne in front of 15,000 fans when the sun is blazing and the air is heavy. She will not just be playing for herself. She will be playing for the Philippines. She will be playing for every kid who ever chose discipline over shortcuts. She will be playing for everyone who believes legacy matters more than luxury. And that kind of motivation is dangerous. This is how legends are built, not in comfort, not in isolation, but in resistance, in moments where the easy option is rejected in favor of something harder, something pure. Tennis has always rewarded that mentality. The sport is unforgiving. It exposes weakness. It punishes doubt. But it also crowns those who endure, who believe, who persist. And Alex Eala has already shown she has that core. Her story has already crossed beyond tennis media. It is being discussed in business circles, sports, philosophy, debates, and cultural conversations because it touches a nerve. We live in an era with money, visibility, and instant success. And here comes a 20-year-old who says no, who chooses patience, history, and struggle that is powerful, that is rare. The ripple effects are already being felt. Young players are talking, coaches are pointing to her as an example, fans are rallying behind her. The WTA quietly understands what this means, because if more players choose legacy over quick cash, the sport protects its soul. Tennis remains more than an exhibition product. It remains a battle of endurance, skill, and courage. And that is why this moment will be remembered no matter what happens next. Even if Alex Eala never wins a Grand Slam, even if her career faces setbacks, injuries, or heartbreak, this decision will stand forever. It will be replayed, discussed, and admired, because greatness is not only defined by trophies, sometimes it is defined by choices. But something tells you this story is far from over, because players with this mindset rarely stop halfway. They keep pushing, they keep climbing, and they usually find a way to win something big, because belief is a competitive advantage. If you love tennis, if you believe passion still matters, if you believe athletes can still be heroes, then this is your moment. Smash the like button, share this story with every tennis fan you know, post it, talk about it, argue about it, because stories like this define eras. And do not forget to subscribe to Champions Tennis. We are on the road to 5,000 subscribers, and we will be there every step of this journey, from Melbourne to Paris to London to New York. We do not just report tennis, we live it, breathe it, and bleed it, because when Alex Eala lines up on the baseline, takes a deep breath, and bounces the ball before that first serve, she will be carrying more than a racket. She will be carrying a statement that glory still matters more than gold. Game, set, match.